Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table podcast. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astro Pub, your professor on the Astro Historian, and your moderator here at the Captain's Table podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to Star Citizen, where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe, from every walk of life to talk about the game, from events, as I say, lore, news, and more. We're here for you. If I don't talk about this a lot, but those of you who listen to us on the audio podcast and Spotify and other platforms, please do subscribe and like and do all those things. It helps out in promoting it a little bit more. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, come join us live at twitch.tv/theastropub or youtube.com/the Captain's Table podcast on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you come join us live and interact with us. We also do question and answers after this, all this sort of thing. So with that being said, let's introduce the folks, then we'll introduce the topic. Starting with you, Mr. Axis0096. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
All right. Well, my name is Axis0096. You can find me usually on YouTube. Well, pretty much every platform. I'm just going to say that, including now my Twitch, X account, which is under my real name, Chris Taylor, but you can find it has my AKA Axis0096. You'll be able to find me.
Okay.
But
what do you do?
Predominantly, I am an industrial/explorer type player in Star Citizen, but I'm also looking at expanding into other games. Most recently, I started playing Oblivion Remastered, which I love that game. It looks so much better compared to what it used to. For those of us who love the old Elder Scrolls stuff, I'm almost hoping for a Skyrim remaster, but as much as people want to say no, it's
I'm going to have to agree. I don't want a Skyrim remaster. I want a Morrowind to be remastered. But that's just.
How about both?
I am old. Why not both? Well, I also want Elder Scrolls 6. But that's like Star Citizen. It's the essential, the forever when,
the forever of everything.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to try, Space Engineers 2, which I've just recently purchased on Steam and never tried Space Engineers. It should be interesting.
All right. And then we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nick at Night, who I had the pleasure of meeting in person again at Quantum Vegas recently. So who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
Yeah, hey guys, my name is Nick at Night. And as you kind of highlighted, so I have transitioned off the front page, if you will, of Twitch. We do some stuff around Bar Citizen. So there's a group called Bar Citizen International. I work with the board, and in doing so, part of that was we can't have our own Twitch channels because we're working really close with CIG. So we don't want to come off as profiting from that type of thing. So you'll find me at Bar Citizens these days. For those of you that went to CitizenCon week last week, that was a group of us putting that together. As you mentioned, Quantum Vegas. So you'll often find me at a Bar Citizen having a pint. So good to see you again.
Because I'm going to bring this up a little bit because it's something that is brought up a little bit by CIG, but I don't think it's brought up a lot. And the fact that Axis has a hard cutoff because he's going to a Bar Citizen, and I also am technically a coordinator for the Austin area, even though I have to actually set up some events down, because we always, for those of you who are in Austin, we have a North and South Austin, and it's anyone who lives in South Austin doesn't want to go to North Austin, and no one in North Austin wants to go down to South Austin because like if somebody lives in San Marcos and they come up to Austin, South Austin, it's like a 20-minute drive. But if they go to North Austin, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah,
so,
crazy, right?
Yeah, it's just that once you go through downtown, it adds like an hour of your travel, whatever you're going, because 35 sucks. But anyways, what is Bar Citizen for the people who may not know Bar Citizen?
Well, let me tell you, it is the greatest thing about our community, and I will say that hands down. So Bar Citizen is this. I struggle even working on this to give it like a definitive title, because what it really is it's a group of people getting together wanting to talk about the game, whether that is at a brewery, that is at a restaurant. There's been someone who's been trying to plan one at a Waffle House, which I would really go to.
I would love a
yeah.
Waffle House citizen.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. But it really is, it's a great way to kind of get to meet everyone in person around your area. Sometimes people fly in and kind of talk about the game and really be involved in kind of like this type of setup like you've put up for Captain's Table, but in person and talking with people. So that's
I think
really
a
what
lot
it is.
more. I'm going to add to that. I think a lot more of our community needs to have podcasts like this because it gets more the word out and how our personal feelings about the game and the community get out there. Because CIG really does rely on us as their emissaries in a way for growth.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know, for instance, there's another great one. I don't know if they still do them. Soul Citizens used to do a monthly Bar Citizen
Virtual one.
So you could actually go
Yeah.
to these ones. So it's similar to, and CIG would show up to those. So I don't know if they
Yes,
still
and
do
they,
that. So
shout out to Soul Citizens and they still do them. I think they do them quarterly. And obviously when they had been planning Quantum Vegas, so I can't really blame them that they hadn't been doing them up to that point. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited because, as we mentioned, like Bar Citizens is that kind of great point. Bar Citizen International, which is funny enough, we are now a 501c3 nonprofit.
nice.
And it's what it's meant to be there for is to help coordinators, whether it's we're building a brand new website so it's easier for people to find where these events are. We're putting together best practice documents for like people. You get so many people that want to do these and they don't really know how, or when CIG comes to town and they're not ready for that 10x multiplier, and like all of the supporting things that any coordinator might need if they want it. That's really what we're putting together. So it's 100% volunteer based. I'm just kind of making the shout out if there's any coordinators that would like, and they're sitting there saying, "Hey, I'd like to help with this." Absolutely reach out because we were hoping to get the website done, but because everyone's volunteer, it's like the people that know how to do this also have a day job.
Yeah.
So
And running these things is kind of difficult
Yeah.
because
We had Apollo not on.
I mean, Paul,
last time.
you have a hard
yeah,
you have a hard cutoff tonight.
Yeah.
Because you got to go see a
We'll see a
movie.
Yeah.
And he's going to see Fantastic Four, guys, and I've heard it's great, but Paul needs to find that out himself. But for my Bar Citizen tonight, we struggle with locations. See, in Oklahoma, we have 2 metropolitan areas separated by about 200 miles. See, we have the Tulsa group and we have the OKC group. So, yeah.
I understand that. We got the same thing with Texas. Like we've got so many different individual groups, and sometimes it's hard. I've heard people talk about a lot of times like, oh well, I've never been. There's no Bar Citizen in my area, and it's like, I'll tell you how simple it is. You got
exactly.
You got a bar. All you got to do is often just call up that bar and be like, hey, we're gonna have possibly a couple people show up. It could be 10, 15 or whatever. And then all you got to do is go to places like Bar Citizen International and then list your event. You can put it on Eventbrite. You can do it. There's lots of stuff for free sources. You can do it Discord, and you can just have people show up. And that's what it is.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of letting people know. You'd be surprised how many people are Star Citizen fans who would go to a Bar Citizen, but no one has set up the Bar Citizen yet.
Oh, and I think, and this is why you're hitting it, is exactly why the group was formed. It's amazing how much the community has embraced the concept. But even when I go to like Citizen Cons, or we would like, the amount of people are like, I didn't know that Bar Citizens existed, or I didn't know that they were in my area. That's like, we now have a booth at Citizen Con. We're promoting all of I wish I had it because I left it in Manchester, but we have this like flight deck manual with all the Bar Citizens logos and the QR codes, so we could get people quickly in the channels. But it's getting to that point now where, when Squadron 42 is ready and we get to 1.0, like that in itself will probably be another multiplier. So making sure we have resources available for coordinators if they want them, that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And a lot of these places, these Bar Citizens, for those of you who are interested, are doing watch alongs with the
Yes.
the CitizenCon Direct. So like I know I'm part me and the Austin
Yep.
Austin team are doing one, and I know we were talking about it, and then we're like, oh well, all the other cities are gonna do it, and they're like, we're gonna be honest, no. Houston and Dallas will just show up to Austin because CIG staff is there, so they'll just show
Yeah.
up.
It's funny you say that. We also have a watch up for the new online CitizenCon. Same thing, we're gonna have a watch for CitizenCon. Guy just literally opened up his big old house. Says he's got a 10-bedroom house in Piedmont up the road. He's
That's
gonna
awesome.
open up and say he's got a hard limit on 60 people, but he's gonna like order pizza and drinks and beer and such.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a fun old night.
I know
that's great.
NorCal Apollo was talking about yes last time that NorCal is doing that as
Yep.
well. So so just in general, like just I mean, there are bar citizen groups in Japan, in
Oh,
China,
worldwide.
in everywhere. So even if you're not in the U.S., there's only one place that's not called Bar Citizen, but it's Bar Citizen, and
Yeah.
as tradition, it's Australia. So they call it Pub Citizen, but which is better
I will
in my
take that.
opinion because
Which is
I'm not
strange
biased or
because
anything, but
Right.
you think that'd be the UK.
I don't know why. I think it is called Bar Citizen UK, so it's weird.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, Oh, we there are. I mean, and you've hit it. There are so many places in across the world that want to run these, that have people, and if you don't, and you're sitting there listening to this, and you're like, "That sounds great. I want to do one." We're here to help you, right? So, I mean, Paul, like Astropub, knows exactly how to get to us, and he's another great example of somebody who does it themselves. Like, reach out. We'd love to help you get it. We've got some new ones in New Mexico that are popping up. I know there's some going on in Montana, like, and so the last little bit I'm excited to share, because we'll get, when we get past the website, the next thing is thank you program, a concierge program for coordinators, if you will, because you guys do put amazing amount of effort in. You guys keep it consistent, so we're working with CIG to make sure that they don't forget the power of thank you.
Thank you. That's good. I will say in general, if you want to hang out with other people, if and I've heard this before, but when I don't drink, you don't have to. You can just get some Diet Coke and go hang out with people. Like most of the times I have been at a Bar Citizen, it's not actually the bar, it's just hanging out and eating, tacos or chips with people. And some people drink, some people just hang out and talk. So
yeah, I can't think of any time, you're right, to your point, it's been at like an actual bar. It's always a restaurant that has like food and alcohol.
Yeah.
We had a brunch citizen, so
Yeah.
you can do those too. Wasn't a Waffle House. It was
Waffle
really
House.
sad, but it was really good.
now I'm gonna have to do a Waffle House citizen because because I make the joke, for those of you who watch me regularly, whenever we play mech games, I always nickname my mech the Waffle House because it's gonna throw down when you get close to it. So...
I can tell you, I know Galactica and I have joked a number of times about her wanting to go to a Waffle House citizen. So
hey, I'll tell her. I'll let her know. We'll do because we actually have Waffle Houses here in Austin, so it's just like, hey, come on down. we'll do a Waffle House citizen on a random Saturday evening.
I do have a question for you two, since you both run, as a coordinator.
Yeah.
Or, I'm a moderator. Do you both do holiday citizens like at Christmas time? We try to aim like 2 weeks before Christmas, like way before the travel time. That way people can actually enjoy, debrief the year, and then go home, to pack and travel, because that's just how it should be.
I haven't seen them directly, but I'm sure they happen a lot. They happen around. I've seen them happen around events and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've hit it. People are going to do them right then and there. Sometimes maybe before or after. It really, it feels out for the community. I think what you highlighted is a great example of being aware of your community's needs. So, yes, people do. I mean, we did one in Columbus where we did a white elephant present. So everyone brought skins and subscriber giveaway and put it under a tree. But you could do that in July, so.
Yeah, Christmas in July might work better if, everybody's traveling for work or something.
I have a devious idea for next year and no one's going to like it.
Oh, no.
Yes. I will say this and we'll move on to the topic because we've been talking about this a little bit long, so I know this. But for those of you who don't know, I used to do this, and I haven't done it in the last couple of years, but I used to do this thing where on Christmas in July, so July 25th, I would watch the infamous last holiday live stream by CIG.
Oh,
So that would be a fantastic event to do at Bar Citizen, where you sit down and watch the 2016. It's not that long; it's only like an hour or so. So, and it's not as cringy as everyone remembers it. The beginning is pretty cringe though. But yeah. For those of you who are here who are like, I have no idea what this means, go watch the 2016 a holiday live stream from Star Citizen. It's one of the only things that CIG has taken off their YouTube. They were so embarrassed by it. There is no record by it by CIG. It is archived by other folks though. So with that being said, let's move on to the actual topic for today. So the big thing that's been going on the last couple of weeks, both good and a lot of frustration, is the Resource Rush event. And given that it's been a couple of weeks now, I wanted to sit down and actually talk about it, because CIG is moving on to 4.3. And I will say, as of today, as I tried the Evocati build today, the Resource Rush event was still active in 4.3. CIG hasn't said anything that it's going to extend past 4.3, but they initially said that it wasn't going to, and it seems like it's probably going to extend past 4.3, likely because they're going to have some fixes in 4.3 that might help with the event. So keep that in that. But let's talk a little bit about our just initial impressions of it, and we'll move on from there. So I'm gonna start with you, Nick. What's your initial impressions of the event?
Well, you started to hit a little bit earlier. I mean, I liked the event, but I think that if we put it through the lens of this thing was designed to help them improve all their backend services for like freight elevator calling and tractors and all that other stuff, because they frankly have had to rewrite all of these backend services, this is the perfect stress test for it. And the reason why I would say this, because then the lore behind it, the quest system, why they made us do 4 SU boxes and other things like that starts to make a little bit more sense. If we treat it as like this is their example of what they can push the system to right now for worldwide events, then I think that's where I would see where the community is kind of concerned of like, wait, this is the type of community event you want us to run. So I'm kind of torn, because like one side really excited that they have millions of new data points that are going to help them figure out all the systems that work with server meshing, and then on the other, oh man, I hope we can figure out how we can get some really immersive global events.
Okay. Axis, your current experience, like what is your general overall view of
having
just general, don't go into the details, just general vibes.
I see what they were aiming for, and I think it went better than they thought, but they realized they still released probably it a little too soon. You know, from the perspective of how do I put it? Maybe the boxes being in 4 SCU segments, because when you store it in your ship and put your cargo on your ship, they make bigger boxes. I discovered that neat little glitch about halfway through, so that's helped.
Wait, what?
So you put it on the ship and you store the ship and you pull the ship back out, those boxes get bigger.
No. When you keep your ship in storage that you're using for the cargo running, this is a heads up, Chad, if you're still doing it.
Okay.
Don't know if they've omitted it yet, but you like pull it into your hangar, but it's in your storage.
Okay.
And then when you go to the refinery to put in your order, you send the whole order to your stored ship. And the box,
if you're going through that route, yeah.
32, 16, 24, far bigger boxes. And oh my God, it's
We're doing mining.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new return, I mean, if we're doing PSAs, the new retrieve cargo, or like the one where you were supposed to take the ship, those are also in 32 and 16 SCU boxes.
they are.
So that'll speed you up.
Yeah. Those are very interesting. Even the medium missions are a decent grade. Because you're usually in low defense ships like the MSR or the Freelancer Max. You can get disabled real quick. But the high yield one, even if you're in an 2, picking up you're getting missile bomb. You better point them out of there and get somebody to pick up you and your.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, these are the mission frameworks that they've had are one like you can tell that they're operating. I think that there's, well, actually, Paul, I'm curious, what's your take on this?
On
Like, well, you've asked us, so what's your
my vibe?
Yeah.
So this is the best event CIG has ever run.
Yeah.
With a caveat.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Is I don't think that CIGs like as a mission, the missions fundamentally are great. The way they're designed, the way that they're implemented, the way that and the I love the unique mission givers with their unique dialogue and how they talk.
Yes.
It's fantastic in addition. I want them to keep all of these people, like the amount of people I've seen talk about how they hate Hurston because Hurston's mission giver is just like
Just a dick.
dick to them. Whereas like everyone's like must protect Crusader guy because it's like, oh, you failed the mission. It's so sad. It's okay. You want a hug? Let's hug it out and maybe come back and try it again next time, sport. I've been using the ArcCorp missions, and she is wonderful. She has this my job as a contractor to hire contractors, and I am stressed out, but I have to keep happy. Like one of my favorites is like, oh, this is your first time going for ArcCorp, huh? And she's like, wait, nope, that was the other one. You're a veteran. You got it, Tiger. Good job. Good luck. And then, she is every corporate HR person I've ever met in my life. And I'm like, I love this. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Like they really nailed the sort of vibe without getting too silly, without getting too jokey. It's all you can tell the vibe of each company very easy.
And you hit it. Well, I was going to say, when you made the joke about HR, I bet you they probably found someone in HR to do the voiceover too, because they often pull from the staff.
Well,
it'd be great.
It's funny because the voice, it sounds like the same voice who did Tessa Pacheco, not Tessa Pacheco, Tessa Bannister. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Tessa Bannister, the actress who played Tessa Bannister. I'm sure.
It'd be funny if it is Tessa Bannister. We're like, what? She's alive?
Yeah.
But Ella is great. So like that, all those things are good. The different types of missions, like I was only participating in one of these, but the assault a base to get the cargo back is so unique. I've never seen that in before. I think it's based off of the old, there's a couple of recovery missions for those forward operating bases around the distribution centers. I think that's what it's based off of.
Yep. I think you're right. That mission type was very interesting. I liked to see them kind of combine those. The new location. Oh yeah, I guess that's what you're talking. Because there were a couple where you actually had a location and you had to kind of go get him.
Yeah.
Another one where there was just like a debris field.
Yeah.
Those were really interesting. And then I mean, and those worked. So those were great.
So, those are like just effectively the vibe is I like this. Please do this again. I love what it's doing. With the asterisk of, dear God, please fix the freight elevators.
Oh my God, hit them with a hammer or something.
and we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when we get to the bad, we'll talk about the bad and we'll get into it.
CIG's and boss elevators.
So we've talked about the vibes. Let's talk about the good. We kind of talked a little bit about the good already, and then we'll go into the bad. So Axis, what are the goods? Give me the most positive, as detailed as you can. about what good, what's worked, what doesn't, or what does work and what you like about this event.
Okay, the route I went predominantly was mining,
Okay.
which surprises everyone because it's time consuming, and I've been using a mole solo, which yes, I'm getting an A for difficulty,
Yeah.
but it works. The problem I could also say with this, well, apart from the long lines at the refinery as well as the kiosks, I mean, who have you guys done any of the refinery orders yourself?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like pushing a day and a quarter or something in some
That can be
place.
pretty long, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people figured out mining was the easiest way to do the orders. Because, just let it accrue, load up a big cargo ship, and drop it off. Because then it skips the whole freight elevator bit except for the one in your hangar. That's probably the best part of it, that there's multiple ways to do this. There's options A, B, C, D, and E. Mining is option E out of A, B, C, D, and E. So they need to do more missions, I feel, in the future as a future framework with multiple choice.
Okay.
Yep.
So you like that?
That-
You like that aspect?
That is the strong point of this whole setup, and the way it works so much better than, say, Chemical Worm from last time or something. Because that only had one way to do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good way of calling. Well, we can talk about it. There's a couple fun ways. We brought size 10 A1 bombs to one of those one time, or the A2 bombs, and that worked out. But yeah, no, I see your point, right? The choose your own adventure is a really good aspect to it.
Yeah, that was my argument, that the multiple choice aspect definitely needs to be a cornerstone of future global events, because there are going to be people of different calibers that want the prize, but maybe don't want combat. Maybe they just want industrial. Maybe they just want delivery. Maybe they just want box doing, mining. You can combine it in different ways. I mean, this exemplifies it. Not trying to take over the conversation.
No, it's
but
fine. I mean, it's good.
No, you're fine.
That's
It's building a space station, say the Pyro Gateway. A way they could extend that is, say, they're going to build a checkpoint on the Pyro side for Hurston in 4.4 or 4.5. To extend the Stanton occupational forces by Hurston into Pyro to finally bleed Pyro into the UE. See, because
Got it.
Citizens Prosperity won, right? This is how I could kind of see them doing this. Theory crafting. The
Gotcha.
Citizens for Prosperity team up with Hurston Dynamics to build a anchor station on the inside of the Pyro jump point. They technically already control the egress and egress from the Pyro side, so they can now control the other interior side too. So now they can launch offensives to capturing key points in the Pyro system.
I can see that.
Well, the Headhunters would be no match for a fully armed Bengal.
Nick, your positives. Pull some of the positives out.
Yeah, well, so I think there are two great positives that I was thinking of, and I'll tell. First positive is I think this event extremely exemplified good ship design when it comes to cargo hauling. Right? I think you mentioned earlier in your stream, like the raft is the MVP of this event, and for me, I felt like that is the best part of it. Is it like this clearly showed how people are going to want to do this, like the way that the system currently works, and ideally, I think it also really helps them understand, like, you have cool, and then there is efficient. And when we get things like this, I think efficient is always going to win over cool. So find ways of bringing efficient into the cool, right? Like, I mean, we see it there's rafts littered everywhere because it was just so powerful. That was one. Two, I only repped Crusader for Life. And so what I really loved about this, and I don't think the community really understood, was that this was marketed as a PvE event, but it gave you an option for PvP if you looked hard enough. And that to me is what I really liked about it, because all of my submissions, you guys can hate me, we blockaded Hurston every time me and my group played. And we just stole from Hurston and gave to Crusader because you could just turn it in. And I really like that fact that they didn't explicitly call it out, but if you looked hard enough, you could figure out how to evolve your gameplay into this, as opposed to them force fitting these types of events. So those are the two highlights for me. And sorry
So
if I pirated any of you guys in Hurston. We're
So
friends
you
again.
could literally park a mantis in the travel lanes, and yeah, ooh, I like that. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
But then you run into the danger of running into a. Oh, Paul, I can't hear you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were plenty of times that we rolled up on people that were
There you go.
single loading
Sorry.
Idrises and Polarises, for sure. But yeah, no.
So I've been going over this a little bit, but I went over my positives. But the other thing is that for sure, I really enjoyed the you said the kind of the structure. What was I going to say? The free flow of it. I guess there was something that I really liked that I didn't talk about that I thought was pretty cool. Oh, line go up. I love line go up mechanics, which is when you have a goal and you see line and you can see the line slowly go up, because that encourages people to actually participate in that sort of event. It gives you an end goal. And if you would normally be kind of tired of it, you'll go, yeah, but I'm like that close to the next level. Let's just power through it. And that makes you more engaged in doing it. Now, there are other problems, which we'll go over here shortly, but I think in a perfect world of design, that to me is a better incentive to get people to play than Wicklow, for instance. I like Wicklow, but like Wicklow always feels more frustrating, because of the same with like what are they called? The executive hangers. Wicklow and executive hangers, they have their place, but they always feel sort of like, well, yeah, I got to do another run, and then I got to go get this card, and I got to go do this. It always feels like a chore that you're not really unlocking something that's cool. It's more like, this is the penalty I have to take in order to unlock something that I want to use. Whereas with this event, it was less of it felt like a chore and more of like when things were working, it was just like, just one more turn, just one more bite, just one more round. It was that sort of vibe to it to kind of keep you going, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, and you just hit it, because I think so there's a third point, and as I was listening to you, it fired as well. If you think about some of the previous missions, the unlocks for rewards forced you down a linear progression path. This did not.
Yeah.
But you got rewards no matter what you did. And I guess that would be the third positive of, hey, continue doing things like that, because then it's like, oh, I mean, I can't remember how many times like our groups had to split up because one person like, oh, I'm missing mission 4.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on mission 8. It's like, don't do that. Give us these things. I mean, that I think your point is huge.
Yeah, the asymmetric nature of it, the sandbox nature of it. It felt like an event that was built in a sandbox that allowed for a lot of multiple choice. All of those things are good because it meant that nobody feels like out of the loop. There's still a progression to it.
Yeah.
So, Now we're gonna go into the negatives. And I'll start with you,
Yeah.
Nick, and then Axis. And what are some of the negatives that popped up? And it's the obvious one's going to come up.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think you're seeing some of the friction. I think the negatives here for me in the way I play, right? And we can see some of the people in chat being very upset that I got to PvP. These things continue to cause that friction, which is unfortunate. Like obviously, like people should be able to play they want to play. Elevators, I mean, well, that in itself, the freight elevator concept, I think will be its own small point. The things that I think were bad were ultimately what I get that they have to have a barrier of entry mission. And that then opens everything up. And I think if that was one of the bads was just how frustrated the community got because some people got in and some people didn't. So maybe as a piece of feedback, like 2 or 3 entry missions, which then spawn into do whatever you want. That way you're not bottlenecked. That would be one. And then obviously, like we said, we'll talk about freight elevators, but freight elevators, and I think that's the other bad is just how terrible some of the tractor beams are versus others, right? It just became, you had to min-max and get atlases to make this stuff all work right. And I think the other thing I personally felt was bad was that this stressed the internal tractor beam mechanics for most of the ships where you're just fighting it to try to get it to snap to the grid. And it's like, why not like maybe adjust it so that we're doing the mapping of where it goes and then the animation happens? Because half the time I'm taking people out, we're accidentally breaking things. Like it just, that was my personal struggle.
Okay. Yeah. So Axis, negatives.
Well, for me, it's similar. People parking on the loading pads, too long.
Yeah.
Just they abandon their ships like right on the loading pads and just leaving them there. When I was first doing the pickup orders, which I quickly abandoned because of it. Yeah, legal towing missions. Thank you for that, Joe Carey. They need to add legal towing missions. Thank you for that.
We'll get into like the suggestions for the future, but just focus on the negative aspects and then get.
But yeah, that literally made me want to scream that because, I mean, and I was just trying to do the 3SU intro missions. And plus, when I was doing my one for Hurston, some idiot with a raft, don't know what his problem was taking my boxes off of my hull A and hitting me with it, injuring me.
Griefing, that stuff.
Yeah, and I finally got in my hull A, hiding behind a ship, and I was like, dude, if you don't stop hitting me with boxes, I'm going to ram into you. I literally said, after he'd already reduced my health, called me a jackass and buzzed. I'm like, yeah, and you're being a jerk, right? And there were people in the server saying, well, I will report you and all this other stuff. Like, guys, so what? He rammed into me first. So it's like,
yeah, it's a strong highlight. A negative of this tends to be that the community will jump. Pad ramming is still a persistent problem. Like that 100% is griefing. If you run into that stuff,
the guy was literally hovering over my ship and wouldn't leave until I threw.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing that I would say. Most of you guys have NVIDIA. It has Shadow Play. Figure out how to do the quick record. If you find people that are pad ramming, it's a very unfortunate situation, but just document it, send it to CIG and join a new server. Like it sucks for sure.
I don't condone what I did normally.
Yeah. I will say, and I'll bring up the negative since we've been dancing around the elevators because we'll talk about the elevators.
Yeah.
The problem with the elevators in my opinion, has to do with what we'll talk about this when we talk about the fixes for these sorts of things in the future. Is CIG has to have known that outpost elevators have been broken since August. Since they were introduced last year, they have been broken. It's one of the reasons why the intro mission for hauling was changed, because the original intro mission for hauling was go pick up boxes at an outpost and bring them back to a location, and it didn't work. So they changed it to landing zone to orbital station as a way of trying to like ease off the problems. So like that's just the problem. And I think there was people in this chat who literally first time popped up and just said, like someone said, Hypnotic, who came in and says they need another option for initial contract. I can't even unlock any of them. You said that, Nick. I agree. There needs to be like the intro missions are bad. Like every single intro mission in the game I've ever had has been a frustrating experience. It's designed as a little, hey, we're going to teach you how to do things, but they're already going to do things like that in the future. Just get rid of the intro mission stuff and focus more on the like tutorialization of the game. Things like Gilly. Gilly is a great example. You don't need an intro mission, just have Gilly teach you how to fight. And that should be fine. But like
no, you're 100% right.
And you know, as you all brought up as well, the issues around like the sheer number of abandoned ships that happen at locations that block entry, intentional griefing that was going on, and just so many broken things that like the problem with this event is more that there was a load bearing weight, which was freight elevators, and when those broke, it became to give you an example, I, for the first time in a week, was able to get, just before the stream, freight elevators to work. And there was at least one person, and I'm sure there were multiple, who saw that I was in a server with elevators working and immediately were like, I'm going to join on your server. Because they just hadn't been able to see one. And there were people in chat being like, I haven't been able to get one to work for 3 days. And that's shows you that this is a serious issue. Like it's such a problem that it can completely prevent people from enjoying the event, which should be a pretty simple, pretty relaxing for most people. So
Well, and this is why I'm convinced this was a stress test. And hear me out for a second, because I understand that obviously they put a lot of good stuff around it. You have to, right? I mean, and I think that speaks to the strength of the dev team putting the quest together. But I mean, to your point, freight elevators have never really worked. And we got server meshing that came in at the end of December last year. And frankly, that is like, we talk about all these like 1.0 systems, that's back end 1.0. Like they finally got to a point and now they're having to rewrite the entire stack that manages this thing behind the scenes. So yeah, freight elevators probably were never going to work on the old way because it took the new way to have to do this. So I'm optimistic because like, I mean, I do this a lot in my job where it's like, hey, we need a bunch of people to do something. Let's incentivize their behavior. That's what we got. We got a bunch of these really cool objectives to do. And what it took was us to pull millions of boxes. And this is where it's like for SU, I think they were testing how the server manages that level of entities within the graph. I think they were testing, to your point, what are the callback services that are like, because if you think about it, when every time we hit one of those buttons, that's calling something out on some little service that's sitting there. It has to figure out how to manage it, call out to the entity graph to get stuff coming back, let everyone know it's happening. And that thing was just falling down. And you can see that they were making improvements. But I think to your point, this is okay, provided we start to see significant changes because of the data points. If we just created so much data and they can't figure out how to change it, that's when we have a problem.
I was gonna say there's let's get into the actual what should CIG do to fix this? And I think I'll start off real quickly by saying I hope that they learn from this, and the two things that would come away from it is While I understand that CIG likely had a bunch of fixes, because I know that CIG had said before this patch, before 4.2.1, that they were spending 4.2.1, 4.3, and 4.3.1. Those 3 patches were all dedicated to them fixing freight elevators. This was before the event was being released. It was still in testing. They knew the freight elevators were going to be a problem. I believe that CIG thought they had fixed some of those problems, but unfortunately, CIG cannot use the PTU to fix those problems because, unfortunately, people don't play it in stress test numbers large enough for them to get enough feedback. And I know people were saying that a lot of these problems existed in the PTU, which is probably true, but you also need to test it at load, and they just can't test it at load. So it's one of those things where, is this a problem because of this bug or this bug? And if you don't know, you just gotta go and hope to figure out what's broken and fix it from there. And that's a problem that CIG has long term. It's just,
I have worked with developers at the New York Stock Exchange that, like, when you get to this level of load, because it was millions of boxes if you think about, like, you can't simulate that. And I mean, we've had to put stuff in, like, into production where it was like, oh yeah, now it's falling over, or shoot, this whole thing fried. Like, that just happens. Like, this is just how it happens. So yeah, I really hope that they're able to take these data points and identify some of the key bottlenecks in their distributed system and make improvements. Because, God, we need these elevators to work. If this is such a core mechanic, and it seems that that's the way they're headed, without this kind of change, the changes I hope this data brings, like, it will be really tough to improve the overall user experience.
Yeah, and that's, there's some elements of that. That being said, CIG could have still put stress tests on those things, but also added other events. Like if they had added distribution center pickups as well as the regular outposts, if they had added L station pickups as well as the regular outposts, even if the outpost would break, people would still be able to do the missions with other things. So they would still have been able to do the load testing while also giving people options around it. So I think if CIG knows there's a problem and it's clear they knew this was a problem, they should also seek other solution workarounds in case it breaks, because that way people don't feel as like slighted by it. So.
And to your point, it could have been as minimal as just saying, hey, I think it's steel, right? Isn't steel the thing you can steal from the distribution center?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like, just, you could, to your point, we know it's loaded. We're just going to add it as one of the things you can just turn in, and people are going to go, where do you find this? Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Well, and also the distribution centers, their elevators work most of the time. It's that, well, that's the thing. It's like the outpost freight elevators always break, and it's just that model for whatever reason. It breaks in Stormbreaker. It breaks in the only time that the model that they use for the distribution centers breaks, in my experience, is the one in the obituary contested zone. That's the only one of those models that breaks. Everyone else works, and each distribution center has 2 like hangars, so you can actually land in the hangar and pull it out. Plus, also like 12 on the outside for you to do. So like just having a pickup mission at those locations, or those sorts of things. So
distribution centers originally were designed for more than just what they are. Yeah. They were originally designed to also function as small scale smokestack towns. Yeah. Nick probably knows the term. One smokestack towns where they're built around a factory.
Yeah.
That's what these are. They're self-contained little small towns. Like, he lives in Ohio, so he knows what I'm talking about.
But I mean, so Axis, I'll ask you this question. What are some things that CIG could do in the future to fix this? Like, what can they learn from this event, and what can they do in the future events? What things they could do?
They could spread it out, the pickup areas, a lot, from, like you guys were just saying, with the distribution centers, depending on what planet they're on. Or like I think the distribution centers, they're not on Crusader, but they are on Microtech, Hurston, and Hurston. So that would split them up there. But they could add distribution centers to the moons of Daymar, Selene, and the others. And they could also add a couple to Lyria and Walla. So
Mhm.
those would be the ArcCorp distribution centers. But we're going to have to see with Onyx facilities. But that's another
Hmm.
kit and caboodle. But another thing they could definitely do is, like I said, keep the multiple choice up. Because a lot of people seem to be thinking that's the best way to go forward.
Yeah, it's a great method, and it didn't I don't think it reduced a lot of options. More options is better, especially with the sandbox. You want more ways that people can interact with your. So
Yep.
Opens the door to form more people.
yeah. Nick,
So
your thoughts?
the one thing, and by the way, I know we were talking about my suggestion is going to be very focused on PvP.
Hmm.
And the thing I would suggest here with an event such as this, they could do a lot with a faction system that actually works. And I know
Yeah.
they have faction systems now, but like if you're going to do an event like this where you're pitting the corporations against each other, that is perfect faction v faction type setup. And I think that this is as a PvP, a PvX player, because don't get me wrong, I loaded thousands of boxes. I lost thousands of cargo myself too. Like I feel for you guys.
You learned the pain of what tractor beam technology is in Star Citizen right now.
Oh yeah, no, I mean you got to play it all because it's like PvP gets boring after a while. You got to do PvP. But what I really want to see out of this is there needs to be that middle ground where, and I think the chat has already said it too. I like I said, we helped everyone in Crusader. I spent so much time trying to help Crusader get back to the line because I wanted Crusader to win. It was never going to happen because so many people did Hurston. But man, if I would have been on the other side of the fence, and we did, there were a couple times where like there were a bunch of groups that were doing exactly what ours were doing to try to help Hurston and ArcCorp catch up. Right? That was the whole purpose of what they were doing. And I have to imagine when you do something like this, it gives the community a way to PvP together in a coordinated fashion. And then I would say, because then the thing you do, because we knew that you had, there were no detriments on this. So if you turned in cargo, great. But if it forced me to decide between Crusader or Hurston for this point in time, all right, Hurston's going to hate me. That's fine. But it also would have meant I was not going to attack anyone in Crusader. And if I had, then I think that would be the other way to you kind of box PvP into a constructive approach. I think that would be the one piece I really want CIG to think about is like, how do you build? And this is where like when they talked about the collaboration zones, I was like, man, if they could just add some factions, just some factions that we could join and we could see and we could work together, then we have an us versus them, and it's not us versus everyone.
Yeah, I like some sort of thing to fight for.
Yeah.
So
100%. The other thing I think like we talked about as a positive, but I think that they really, there are so many cool cargo ships, but
everyone
the
used
way
a
that the
raft.
game, yeah, but the way the game is currently set up, efficiency, because it takes, I mean, gosh, I always joke with my group, if we're lucky, if we can get going in an hour when it's more than 4 people playing, because
Yeah.
it just takes so long. And so everyone's looking for the most efficient way to do this. And I feel like there's so many cool things that you just don't see anymore. Like I didn't see anyone in a Nomad. I don't see, it's raft or C2. And you knew that people were cheesing it when they were bringing a C2 because you could delete the mission and then get it back real quick and pull out stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just like they need to find that balance of intuitive, not easy to use, but intuitive cargo management. And I hope that this data sets improves the overall cargo experience.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say that jumping on that, I think having a randomizer.
Yeah.
So like right now it's always the same amount for medium, small, medium, and large. It's always the same amount. It never changes. There might be some small changes in, say, like the rescue missions where you have to go rescue like from a C2 or from a Mercury, something like that. But it's not
Right.
much. It's like a variation of 10 SCU. So like it's never that variance. They really need is some sort
Never
of
50 or 100. Yeah.
no. It needs to random. They just need to random like, oh, this is between 50 and 100, and you just roll the dice in terms of what it is. So it's not always, oh yeah, get a raft. They'd still make like the raft super effective, but if you had an event that was like, oh yeah, this could be 250, it's like, well, it's 250.
Yeah.
My raft is done. I can't use the raft. I have to use something else. And as you said, like the cheese where you could just like stop it,
Ooh.
reclaim it, stuff like that. There needs to be
Great.
some.
May I add one more?
Go for it.
And I mean, I saw in the community, I the other CIG, and I'm looking at you straight in the face right now. Elliot, it's you and I right now. For the love of God, figure out how to make events work in groups.
Oh,
right
God,
now,
yeah.
the way you've set this up, it actually forces us to think about who we're going to play with. And it's the worst experience as someone who runs an organization where we're optimizing 3 or 4 people and you have 8 people that want to play together. And it's like, I'm sorry, because the time it takes to do this is so impactful the more people we have that we're not going to play tonight. Set up, go into different groups. And then you hurt feelings. Like there's got to be something in the box of tools they've given you that, depending on the amount of people in the area, raises or lowers the difficulty, because we want to play together. And the system you've set up right now forces us to make the choices that ultimately break up groups. And that's not what you're going for. We totally get that. But please, please make this change.
I agree. A great example of this is I am a lover of mecha. Axis was my brother in mecha here, so I love big stompy robots. Be them Gundam flavored or BattleTech flavored or somewhere in between. I love it.
Flavor.
Yeah, I love the Titan suit. I love the concept of it. And so when the ICTY came out, I'm like, I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna do my best to get it. And then I found out, oh yeah, you have to grind out the Stormbreaker mission like 2 to 3 times, and just hope that you have a group that's not going to take all of those things, and so you can get it. And it's like,
Why?
it's for an ICTY. It's for something that is not going to do much, and you want me to spend like 30 hours to grind out this thing that I don't, and that's a problem. Like it's a consistent problem where the best way to
sell us something, CIG. Just sell us this.
I don't care if it's selling it. I just want it to be reasonable. Like in game. So like the problem is that to do Stormbreaker, for instance, you needed like 8 people at minimum in order to not get screwed over, because people would come in and PvP you. So there's no way of doing it. And they also had a lot of broken things. So there's just you have to do it in large groups, but there's no incentive to do it in large groups, because then you have to distribute that resources over all of the groups that you have, which is then not fair. And, some people may not get resources that they want. And it's a lot of time investment for that. And then you do things like I do big groups missions all the time, where we do like a mission that's supposed to be high risk. We go in like a Polaris with like 8 of us. And it's like, cool, everyone gets 2 UEC for this 100 plus UEC mission or 1,000 plus UEC mission. Everyone gets almost nothing, and it becomes hard to like actually optimize for these sorts of gameplay loops. So CIG actively punishes people for grouping up, and that's the problem, especially with this event.
One, and this is where I would say I come back to, but I bet you, I mean, Elliot's brilliant. He knows what he's doing. I mean, we've seen some really great missions and some not great missions. But I think this comes back to, I don't even know if the backend services are at a point where you would be able to tap in and know.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this fundamentally, like when they've been talking about this year is stability, I think what they really mean is this is the year we get our backend services to actually not completely fall over every time there's a problem. Right. So I feel for people that are trying to hook into these distributed systems. But yeah, I mean, it's something, please, where we can bring as many friends as we want, and it just gets more complicated if that's what we do.
So I would say just overall, my opinion, we'll finish this up real quickly, but I think overall all of us like the event and like the structure of the event.
Yeah.
But there are some significant issues that CIG needs to address that I think aren't just an issues of this event, but kind of strike to the core of what CIG's problems have been in the last year or so. Things like de-incentivizing group play, sort of the intro mission problem, the building an event around something that players have known has been broken for a long time and without significant support. There's a lot of problems. I think generally speaking, the general framework they used with some tweaks is great. I'd love to see this sort of thing happen. Heck, I'd love to see this thing happen every patch. I would love a community goal like rebuilding Olisar with these sorts of races, these sorts of race mechanics. These would be great.
Yeah.
And like if they could build a tool where a mission team can like mock up a journal post like they did for this one in some way really quickly, I think everyone would be doing this as sort of every patch. They'd be like, oh, what's the race this year, this time or whatever.
Yep.
So, but there are some things that need to kind of fix here. All right, any last thoughts before we move on to the question answer?
The last thought I would say is, so I didn't think this is a positive up until you were talking about this right now. If there was another shining positive, was also how well the community banded together when we were helping. Like I said, like there were plenty of people that were like, and I saw you were doing it. It's like, hey, I'm here to help you load.
Yeah.
If you need help loading cargo, I'm right here. That I think is worth shouting out in itself. That like, yeah, you guys might be mad I was killing some of you guys, fine, but we also did our share of community service as well, and I think that's a huge positive is the community aspect.
Axis, last thoughts?
Well, yeah, I gotta agree to that. The whole togetherness of the communities, getting other people up to a certain level or getting done with their chosen path, it's that kind of communal stuff that you can't replicate in places.
All right. Well, thank you for coming out with us. We're going to take a few minutes break, and then we're going to transition over to our question and answer session. So if you have questions in chat, make sure you write down, put in brackets question or put a question in there. The bot will pick up every time you write the word question. So the way I can tell the difference between someone accidentally writing the word and a question is usually the brackets question. So I can read that. And for those of you watching after the fact, I have been messing with some things. I've had some problems with the stream PC as I've been going along and learning some things. So what I learned today is certain codecs I can't use because they'll fail. And so this is a direct rip from the stream. This will be a direct rip from the stream. So if there's a little bit of lower quality, understand that I'm going to be working on this in the future, just trying to make it work. But thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Make sure you check us out live at twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/@the-captain's-table-podcast on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you come on. Make sure you check out International Bar Citizen. It's barcitizen.sc, right? It's the site.
Yep.
And of course, check out Axis. It's Axis0096 pretty much everywhere. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday.